Hello, this is Gerald Theo van Waas. In the previous video I explained how the Pythagoras order, the harmonia, will lead our imagination, will lead our logic always to a kind of tuning into the, let's say, the notes that matches the numbers that are always at a certain highlight, so we tend to go towards these predestined definitions of orientations, and that's how also letters go to these tunings, so that there are certain there's a certain structure that is also in nature, in our way of thinking, that always leads us to these highlights, these numbers, let's say. Now this is also a little bit overestimated, that these numbers are so important. So here I will make it more relative again. So I will put it even more into perspective, and because what I already explained is that it was important to realize what we don't know, so that you will get tuned into what you can know. So what actually really is. But is that really what it is? Is that a real yes against a no? This is the video that will explain that. So the order also of letters, the order of Pythagoras also has numbers onto the letters. Is this really the only thing that will happen? And is this intended also that we derive also letters to numbers? The only script that we know that really hangs upon numbers is the Hebrew script. We know that is every letter is also a number. In the Roman script you also have that, in the Pythagorean order, that they are numbers. But how much important are these numbers, and are these numbers always leading? This video will explain that. I already explained, so the no thing. So you had, this is the order. Let's say this is an order of 10 dimensions, but at the same time it's also the order in 3 dimensions. It's the order how we see the world and how we make an order. It's the way to make an order. The whole system of letters and how they hang together is based upon this kind of orientation. So we check something out, we try to define it, we try to see what we can recognize and what we can work with. We start with that in space. If that doesn't work, we go to the timings, and if that doesn't work, we go to the context. That's very quickly said what it is, and we always see that we don't have the perfect match in space. So there is a part that we do not know. If we do not focus on that realization, we do not come to look a bit closer. If we look a bit closer, we will see that there is no steady point because they are moving. So we try to check the movings. The next realization will be that, okay, we don't always see from where it comes and where it goes to. So there are already 2 not knowings, and this will always lead to the next step, so that we have the full context and that we can predict what it more or less is. The whole way to that thought process is guided by letters and the tuning in of letters, so to make you focus on that reality. So you had these first 9 letters, A, T, K, U, L, B, C, M, X, in the number 3 as well, with the horizontal, vertical and diagonal. When we, for instance, I will make an example. When we, for instance, focus upon a bird that flies in the sky, the first thing we will do is try to describe what we see, so that we can keep on predicting, so that we have a good definition to work with. That's the most important thing. So we want to have a definition, simple as possible, in a point. And it is always, when we do that, it will always be let's say, an incomplete description, but we'll use it already. So it is incomplete if, of course, we say, oh yeah, it's there, the bird is there, and it's already flying away. So how long was that there? It's not very, very long, but it is the first thing we need to do. We need to localize it first. Our focus from our eyes has to localize it. So we go to a bird. We define it as a bird. A, the letter A, is the trying to find a place for it. This place, what we find, it is not that we say like, oh, I know where it is. No, but it is, we already said, it is an estimation. We go towards what we can use. It is an approach. We go towards it. It is not like I say, oh, I know where it is. It is at that time an approach towards a knowing, because it is very temporal, because other things define this as well. Because once you say, okay, I know where it is, next moment maybe you already don't know it anymore. It's just a very, very small moment. It's a description, it's an approach, it's going towards it. You can, how long is this a reality? It is a bit limited. So it's a description which first starts with an estimation with the nose, as I already described it. Now it goes to the yeses. Also there it will be an approach towards a reality. That's tuning in to where it is. And is this really a yes? We will find out. For this purpose, actually, for the localization, it was correct, of course. So that's the first thing. It is the approach. So the approach is correct. We want to localize it first. This A is this, we use this vibration of A like a tuning in. We're tuning into the bird. That's our radar is going towards it, and we see, okay, it is here in this place. I know it more or less. I localize its place. The approach is limited, but we already can make a description with it which is accurate enough to use it. The T after that, when I use, for instance, the word at, when I have at a place, the T is a very short clicking sound, let's say, localizes it even more clear. We have already the horizontal in A, we have now the T in the vertical. Now we localize it. We localize the bird in a or at a place. We have it. This click sound you can have then a little bit more a clear reference that you have in the localization, so that you can use it in your reasoning. You can keep on following it. We can use it as a reality. And that's the number one. That's the real number one, because now we're sure we can use it. We have a localization, a much more clear localization. We can start to use it. We can start to keep on following it. Still have to go to next steps, but we already have a localization and a use for it. And that's why the letter T is not just the vertical in the three dimensions. It's also the point where you can say, oh, from here onwards, I can use it. And that's the secondary association that you have there, which is important and which has a reason then why you say, okay, this is about a functional placement. It's a functional placement, as I said. And here you can see why it is so, because from here onwards, I can use it. With A, you only have somewhere localization. It's that estimation, because you're still approaching the point, the real reference point. With T, you really have the reference point. And the K, the next letter, you have ATK, is looking a little bit closer, and it sees that, okay, it's not a perfect form, and it's not perfectly in the middle. It's not perfectly perfect to localize. It's a bit off. Even in the form already, it's a bit off, and that is that is the realization also that our focus of truth with two T's is really not that stable as we expected, because it's on the move. Numbers on its own, you say, like it is a bit overestimated that you have to say, like, yeah, all these numbers that you have there, you have these 10 dimensions, you have 9 numbers, you have numbers for each letter. It is a good reference point as a reference, but it's a secondary reference point, and that's what I'm going to say as well. It is that it tunes into these numbers only to help you to, let's say, to approach it, to localize it, but it's always a bit off, because you use the number 1, you say, I have the localization, but you say it is, because the bird is moving, it's very relative. You think you have it, yeah, I pointed it, this point is just there for a moment, you can use it, that's true. But it's like, it's tuned in only to bring you further. So even the yeses have a certain uncertainty when you go and look closer. So what do we have with the first 3 letters? The A was an approach towards a position. The T was finding its position. But the K says what it really is, what its position really is. And it's relative. So it's all associated in the Pythagorean order as 1. But actually, if you say it's an approach towards 1, it's actually not yet 1, so it's less than 1. That's how I found out that you have to see it like that. These tuning-ins are approaches towards 1. The T is exactly 1, and the K is already more than 1. And then it will go to 2. But what we will do in our mind is we all say it is 1, because we want to tune in into something predictable. If we exaggerate that, and for instance with the A, and we consider this as being a truth, that what we think as A is about what we think, what we do, how we approach things, I is written as I, but it is pronounced as A. It is our understanding of things. It's only an approach, so it is always off this tuning. And if we think it is always tuned in and think that it will help us, that we are sure about it, because it is always less, these deviations that are less will become bigger and bigger and bigger, and the off positions, which could bring balance in the K, will maybe not be noticed. So there's a consciousness behind these letters. You cannot, and the consciousness behind this whole system of thinking, you cannot know everything beforehand. The tuning in itself of the certainties is still an uncertainty, because it's an approach. It is only one function for this. It is, in all these 3 times 3 dimensions, it only has a function to come to the things at certain point, not to be at the things. We're not so sure. It's uncertain until we have the full definition of the word, and that word will describe what we can do with it. And I will give an example. So we had already the idea that A is what I explained in the previous video. For a certain part, there's a no part in it. We don't know everything beforehand, even though we think we do. And making it an exact one, is not a good idea, because it will not be an exact one. The only thing you can have is a position. With the K, it will tell you, no, look further, because you don't have its exact position. So like with the no, what I explained, there is a natural law in it that makes you look further. so that the other harmonies and balance and of harmonies helps you to get the full picture and get the full harmony, so that it helps you in this way with words to describe it perfectly what it is. The only place where you have a yes in these three positions is only one time in three, and that's a specific kind of yes. It's the yes in space. It's about position, so the approach towards its position is A, defining its position is T, what it really, how much it has its position is the K. So it's only about positions. That's the only thing you can know at that point. The next level, with number 2, with ULLB, you follow, you know already that it's not exactly the position, so you follow what is different. You follow its differences. So you follow, you can only follow what is most clear to you. It's just an interpretation. So you follow the partial position in U. You follow the dominant part in L. And you follow what is going into a different direction at B. So what does that mean? So the first 3 letters are only about positions in space. The next level, or more close look, in the L, it is, you look for the most physical part that you can find and that you follow. So what is most physical? So it is about a position in the physical world. Both of these things are only exact in the position, and that they are physical, and that there is something physical or becoming physical. That's already something that you know. But that's all. And the last category of the first 9 letters is, it will relativate a little bit more. So you have these focuses in 3. So you try to see, okay, what else do I have that I don't, that it's not really in balance? What else do I have? So, and in the C, we'll see, okay, there is something which is off. How much is it off? And in M, what is most dominant that is off? And in X, we try to focus upon the off focus completely. So also there, if we resume the first 9 letters, and I won't go into much detail for the rest anymore, it is about positions. The first 9 letters are about positions, about something that has a physical association that we follow as physical as possible, and that is also, but we also try to follow what is actually changing already. So it is changing, it is dominant to be different. So we're not focusing on the state. We thought we were going to focus, we tried to focus on the stable parts, but actually we're focusing on what is off. So here again, this growth process of continue to grow in our mind of understanding as well is important. It's in there in the letters. We try to focus more and more into the details. What is really different? Next couple of letters are on the second level: D, N, Y, O, E, Z, and W, G, F, and P. And these so at the same time, there are also dimensions. You had these 3 first dimensions, and then actually it goes to the 4th dimension, 5th dimension, 6th dimension. That's a bit too difficult to follow. Is that really necessary? There's an easier thing to focus upon the 4th dimension. It's about what is seen in time, in the changes, what is changing everything. It could be a lot of things going from 3 dimensions onwards to all the possibilities of changes from there. It's a bit too complicated, but there's an easy way to do so. What is 4th dimension is, if you have the bird, it's not on a stable place, it's moving. You need 1 extra dimension. The move, you follow the move, and so on. So in a way, it is, you have the bird itself in 3 dimensions, and you have the move, one of the 4th dimensions. It's much more easy to say, I have a second focus in which I also focus upon what is moving in time. And I use it as a first extra dimension. It's much more easy. So I have 2 focuses, the stable condition and the moving condition. And I can start to compare, of course. That's much more easy, of course, than just saying, oh, I have a 4th dimension. So I have 2 focuses. In time, you need 2 focuses. You notice a movement, and which is, of course, there's a cost to us, a change. If you really want, that's on the next level, to see what causes a thing in the 3 dimensions to move towards another point. Yeah, okay, go for it, go for the 4th dimension, but at this point it's not needed. In the normal world, we don't need the realization of 4th dimension, except 4 or 5 or 6 dimension, except in the background. We have to know there is a 4th dimension, there is a time frame, there are time frames. Take them apart. There are also 3 dimensions in it that are focus. Take them apart and then see what is its relations. Much more easy. It is a comparison between 2 different worlds. Much more easy. A 4th point, so it could be confused. It could confuse if we see all these together and say, oh, it's more easy to have it as 3 plus 1. And then you simply see what is different from the start and where will it go to. So, and on the other hand, it is necessary to have this in the background, that there is a secondary structure, and so you have to adapt to it. So there is conditions and changes in the stable condition. That's what you think is the basics, what you have as a first focus, and then you have a next focus which is different, which has different conditions. Then you can start to compare and see, where do I adapt, how do I adapt, how long will it take, when will it happen. You can recognize all these things, and you have about 10 letters to describe that. And then I could go into detail with all these steps there as well, but I don't want to make it too complicated and too long, this video. So I will jump very quickly already to the next step. So you have these moves, of course, but it's the move alone is can describe certain conditions. As you say, okay, I see that the bird is moving, but where is it moving? If you don't know that beforehand, where it is moving, okay, you can see if it's in a straight line, you can predict it for a certain point, but if you don't know where it is moving towards, for which purpose, and so on, you can't predict it so well. And if you don't know it very well beforehand, what do you need? You need some context. If you would already know the context of where the bird is going to, is it going towards its nest? Is it going towards its food? Is it going towards a friend? Whatever, that's the context. Then you can narrow it down where it can go to, and you can predict a certain range of possibilities. And that's the next couple of letters that you need for it. For instance, if I would say, I will take the example, it's looking for prey. This bird is looking for prey. Then we can narrow down its potential targets. I have some of these targets, and I can also predict its moves. And there are not so many moves left than anymore compared to, yeah. If you would simply say like, okay, let's try to analyze in dimensions how many possibilities there are. I give you, I wish you good luck to have the infinity of possibilities there. No. It is about a description that narrows down its parameters. It's finding its parameters. That's what letters is about. They define parameters and they narrow down its possibilities. It's not an exact tuning in. but it is a tuning in to a narrow down of possibilities. So here are the letters from the next level first. Because pray starts with P, so you have D, N, Y, O, E, W, G, F, P, and the further you are in looking closer, the more and more you need also certain context immediately, without that you have to start from context, but it's going towards conditions that are having a context in D, N, and Y not, but in O, E, Z, W, G, F, and P. More and more you have a context. The last letter, of course, P, completely ends into a context, so it has a goal of context. And that's what pray is about. It's all depending on context what kind of results that I will receive in the word pray. So P is depending on context, moving towards its results, moving in time. It's still about time. It's moving in time towards an end result that will show itself into a context. So the next letter, R, is one of the letters that are in a contextual frame. So what do you need for it? Of course, the contextual frame. So I have here the contextual frame, and within that frame I will try to figure out what targets are possible. The P already has a definition of possible targets, certain limits. It has defined its limits to where it will go. That's actually not more what it will do. It will define the rooftop of all of its limits. And then the next letter, the R, makes connections towards, where it starts from the last letter, makes connections there, and the possible targets now can be estimated. It's not just one possibility, but there are a few, and it is within the range. This R has this range and the connection points in this range, and it looks into these connection points. So pr, like prediction, tries to predict its target, and you can do it. You can do that with that word. A, of course, will be then the actual movement. E is always about movement in time, and the Y is the question, or even the request. Where will I get to in the end? Where will I land to in time in the end? So the tuning in, we have to put that a little bit more into perspective, because I know people are conditioned that we use definitions that are truths, that we use definitions that are true or not true. Reality is a bit more complex than that. It is a tuning towards the definitions, but often the conditions are in that way that it is a bit more complicated than that there are also certain factors in there that have uncertainty aspects. And these uncertainty aspects, just like with the pray, there is a range of possibilities, makes it a bit more difficult to have a definition, because you have a certain range of possibilities within a certain range. But you can define that. You can define a space, an active space, and that active space, that narrowing down that active space, that's the real tuning into a word. The word pray defines the active space that, it narrows down, it has a focus in P, connects to that focus, move to that focus, and will make a choice in that focus. That's what we know. That's exactly what we know. And when we only focus on that, the tuning in will be very quickly in our mind, and we can follow it very, very quickly. And we can follow what is happening. So much more than a tuning into what is only correct. The yes that we predicted, if we follow the no, we come and then we come automatically to the yes. I have to put that more into perspective, because the tones of all these matches also have a certain uncertainty, also deal with the factor of uncertainty. So when we try to match what we saw, the bird, there was only certainty on to the small elements, the building blocks. They were not just calculated or predicted, but they also had and remained uncertain, with a certain unpredictable factor in it. Still, we can learn to see how much it is already in tune and how much it is not. So by narrowing down the tuning ins with the letters, we can follow the purpose of what the word is describing much more easily. We're not distracted, even though there are a lot of possibilities that can be still within that range. Words should be descriptions that can only become a fact once we see the right balance between what we know and what we do not, which, like I said, also includes a range of predictability. In that way, the word bird, for instance, focuses on the object's ability to be anywhere in the sky, and the word prey, as we saw it, only narrows down its definition to a certain amount of possibilities, and that is the tuning in of words. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. There is a new website there, thesoundinformed.com. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like, and there is even some Facebook group there as well. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.